Princess Diana's butler and best friend Paul Burrell has opened up about his relationship with the late Princess of Wales. Was the only one who could have sorted out the rift between Prince Harry and his brother William. Scenes from Diana's funeral showed two little boys walking behind their mother's coffin, their worlds torn apart with only each other to understand their catastrophic grief and the pain of grieving in front of millions of people. Now 26 years later, a chasm has opened between Princess Diana's beloved sons, and they're further apart than ever. On the anniversary of their beloved mother's death, Paul Burrell exclusively tells the Mirror US, "It's just a sad, sad time for them that they can't share it together. Their mother would love to bang their heads together and say, 'Boys, grow up. This is not what I wanted from you, not what I expected of you. So come on, get your act together and sort it out.' And she's the only person that could do that." Burrell worked for Princess Diana as her butler for 10 years from 1987 until her death in 1997. He has described himself as her best friend and claims she said he was the only man she ever trusted. But while Diana's absence may be felt keener this year during the brothers' cold estrangement, Burrell believes everything would have been different if the former Princess of Wales hadn't got into that BMW in Paris on that fateful night in August 1997. In this whole equation, Diana is the missing piece, and if she had been part of it, none of this would have happened, he says. While William lives in Adelaide Cottage in Windsor with his wife Kate and their children George, Charlotte, and Louis, Prince Harry is a world away in his £11 million mansion in Montecito, California with his wife Meghan Markle and their children Archie and Lilibet. But it's not just geography that's driven a wedge between the brothers, but a series of royal crises since the Duke and Duchess of Sussex stepped down from royal life in January 2020. Harry and Meghan accused the royal family of racism during an explosive interview with Oprah Winfrey in March 2021, and the palace responded by mildly challenging the Sussexes and saying, "Recollections may vary." Prince Harry's book Sphere dropped more devastating bombshells when it was released in January 2023, as he claimed his brother flew into a rage and physically attacked him. Harry accused the future king of knocking him to the floor in a physical attack which left him with scrapes and bruises. He said William grabbed him by the collar and ripped his necklace during the incident, which happened at his Kensington Palace home. Another blow came when Harry claimed in his book that Kate made Meghan cry in the run-up to their wedding. He wrote he came home to find Meghan on the floor and sobbing after a row over bridesmaid dresses 4 days before their wedding. The palace refused to comment on the claims, and relations between Harry and William have hit an all-time low. Diana would be devastated to know that her boys were so far apart now, Burrell says. She lived for her boys, she called them "ma boys." Her every waking thought was about her boys. But without a mother's love, Harry and Meghan have repeatedly been given the cold shoulder by the royal family. In March they were evicted from Frogmore Cottage, the Windsor home that was gifted to the newlyweds by the late Queen. The king made the controversial decision amid the couple's frosty relationship with the royal family. In May, Harry cut a lonely figure as he attended the king's coronation without Meghan and spent less than 24 hours in the country as he quickly flew back to America the same day. Meghan hasn't set foot on British soil since September last year for charity events. When the Queen died, the couple met crowds of mourners at Windsor Castle, in their last show of unity with William and Kate, before attending the funeral together. But Burrell is convinced that if Diana was still here, the so-called Fab Four would still be close. "If Diana was still here, Harry would still be part of the royal family," he said. "She would have ruled and she would have pulled them back together." Beryl says that despite everything, Diana was a monarchist until the end and had high hopes that her boys could modernize the royal family when the time came. Diana was proud that her boys were royal princes, that they would continue the tradition and they would be part of the royal family for the rest of their lives, he said. Diana's boys have even more reason to feel isolated a year after the death of their grandmother Queen Elizabeth II. "I think Harry and William will obviously be thinking of their mother, they always do on her anniversary, but they have another death to think about, their grandmother," Beryl says as the first anniversary of the Queen's death approaches next week. "And as they get older they will lose other people around them, and that's what life's about. As our Queen so elegantly said, the price you pay for love is grief." And they're learning that now. Both Harry and William are learning what grief is all about. On the 26th anniversary of Princess Diana's death, Beryl still feels her loss keenly. "When you love someone in your lifetime and you lose them, you never really forget them and you carry them with you for the rest of your days," he says. "Diana for me is one of those people because we were very close. It just so happened that she was a princess and she belonged to all of you, but actually, she didn't. She belonged to me. Because I was always there at the end of the day, and I was always there to pick up the pieces. So I was a very lucky man to be in that position. And we relied on each other." Beryl says he's still reminded of her in everyday life. "If I smell her perfume Faubourg 24 by Hermès, I think of her, of course," he says. He added, "If I hear a slight intake of breath, someone beginning a sentence with, 'Yes, I think so,' that is her. If I hear a high-pitched giggle, I'll turn around and think, 'Is that her?' So simple things in everyday life still remind me of her. How can I forget such a unique, inspirational, incredible human being?" Beryl misses his vivacious and elegant friend, so-called the People's Princess, because of her compassion and personal warmth that he is convinced would have thawed the feud blighting the royal family. "You can never forget the people who touched your heart, and I will never forget her," he says. "Her colors are now pinned to my mast for the rest of my days." Beryl now hopes Harry and William will learn to walk together through life again as they did as boys to weather the storms ahead. Follow our social media accounts here on http://facebook.com/ExpressUsNews and Express Us News.